Hello, my name is Murray Coolican. I'm the Deputy Minister of Energy with the province of Nova Scotia. For too long in our province, we've been dependent on one source of fuel to manufacture most of our electricity, and that, of course, has been coal. It may have been a good decision at the time, but now we see coal as a dirty fuel, one that creates significant emissions that have an impact on climate change as well as on our health. It's time we got off coal. In addition, the federal government has now passed regulations that will require us to reduce significantly the amount of coal we burn by 2030. So in summary, the status quo is no longer an option. So the question is, where do we go next? The province has made significant change in the last number of years. We have a plan to move to more renewable sources of electricity, and the plan is working. We're on target to reach 25% renewables by 2015, and now we'd like to go to 40% by 2020. One of the solutions to that is the Maritime Link, a new transmission line that would link Nova Scotia and Newfoundland to energy coming from the new Muskrat Falls Dam in Newfoundland and Labrador. In looking at this option, the government hired an expert, John Dalton, who has been giving advice to the province for a number of years, going back to 2000. He's very well qualified, and he understands our electricity system. What we asked him to do was to compare the cost of the Maritime Link to the cost of other options that might be brought forward. Those other options are two. One is to import electricity from Quebec and New Brunswick into Nova Scotia. The other option that we looked at is investing in additional wind generation backed up by natural gas. Wind needs to be backed up because it's intermittent, so you can't go totally on wind. You need natural gas to back it up. So those are the two options that we examined relative to the Maritime Link. And the conclusion is that the Maritime Link is the lowest cost option. Bringing electricity from Quebec may sound simple, but there would have to be significant investment of over $1 billion in transmission systems between Quebec and New Brunswick and Nova Scotia in order to carry the amount of electricity that we're talking about. When we look at all the cost of building that transmission, the cost of transmission rates and tariffs across New Brunswick and Quebec, when we look at all those things over time, the cost of the Maritime Link is several $100 million lower than the Quebec hydro option. When we look at building new wind backed up by natural gas, the costs are even higher. So that option costs more than $1 billion more than the Maritime Link. So when you look at it, the Maritime Link makes the most sense from a cost point of view. It's the lowest cost option. But there are other strategic advantages to the Maritime Link. If you look at the map here of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, you can see that at the moment we're not connected to Newfoundland. We're only connected via New Brunswick to the North American grid. We're at the end of the line. If something happens to the line between us and New Brunswick, we have nowhere to get our electricity except from local sources within Nova Scotia. If we're connected to Newfoundland and through Newfoundland to Labrador and Labrador to Quebec, we're in a loop in the North American grid. So that if we can't get our power from New Brunswick, we have the option of getting it from Newfoundland. Or if something happens to the link between Newfoundland and Nova Scotia, we can turn to New Brunswick. So being in the middle of that loop improves our reliability. The second thing that it improves is our competitive position. So we're not reliant on just one source for our electricity. If we can't get the price we want from Newfoundland, we can go to New Brunswick or Quebec. And the same works in the other way. So we'll be in the middle of a competitive market, not beholden to just one source of electricity. The Maritime Link will also have a significant impact on our economy. The jobs that are created from the construction of the Lower Churchill project, the Muskrat Falls Dam, and the Maritime Link will bring significant economic activity and jobs to the region. In addition to reliability and putting us in the middle of a competitive market, the Lower Churchill projects brings price stability. When you invest in a hydro project, such as the Lower Churchill, Once you've made the investment, your costs are stable, and in this case, the costs of the power we'll be bringing in will be the same in 35 years as it is when the project starts. Think about things that you paid for 35 years ago, and wouldn't you like to have that price today? And compare it to the fluctuations that you see in the costs of natural gas or the gasoline you buy at the pump or the oil that fuels your home heating. Those prices are going up and they're volatile. So 35 years of price stability for a significant portion of our electricity will be a big benefit to Nova Scotia in the future. One other benefit is Atlantic cooperation. The government has done studies in cooperation with the governments of Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, and New Brunswick, looking at, are there better ways to run our electricity system together? And we've identified hundreds of millions of dollars in savings if we cooperate. One of the important methods of cooperation is this transmission line between Newfoundland and Nova Scotia. And a lot of the benefits of Atlantic energy cooperation are not available without the Maritime Link. In summary, the Maritime Link is the best option. It's the lowest cost option of all the options that we've looked at. In addition, it has strategic advantages. It provides price stability over 35 years. It puts us in the middle of a market where there's more competition to access other supplies of electricity. And perhaps most important, it provides greater reliability because it puts us in the middle of a loop instead of being at the end of the line. So strategically and from a cost perspective, it's the best option, the Maritime Link.